And it's the Rokk Review! Dun, 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 dun. So, this week we are reviewing Orcs Must Die 3, one of your favourite games on Stadia. Am I not right, Duncan?
Yes, I have really enjoyed playing Orcs Must Die. Me and Kelly completed it in co-op mode. Really, really good fun. It's probably the best Stadia exclusive at this moment in time, or semi-exclusive. Like, should maybe mention this in the news. We've got a semi-Stadia exclusive coming out next week in Serious Sam 4. But at this moment in time, this is the best Stadia exclusive when we're actually recording this. In my view.
I agree, and I love the fact that when you fire the game up, for a second or maybe two, it says Stadia Games and Entertainment, and I think that's probably the only game on the platform that currently has that little slide at the outset, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think it's going to be the only one for the time being, maybe until Outcasters comes out.
Yes, Outcasters. Well, that's for a future Rokk review. I think we're all really excited about that one. So let's just quickly remind folks what the old Rokk reviews are all about. So basically, this is a review of a game in a way that nobody else reviews a game, and that is taken from the perspective of casual gamers, busy people, and those that may be new to Stadia. Now, I take the review avatar of a pro subscriber, somebody that's paid their $10 a month, or $8.99 UK, and I'm assuming it's about similar €10, is it? I don't know, I must look into that. And Duncan takes the role of the free subscriber, which has this week, Duncan, I think it's this week, or maybe it was a week before, become a heck of a lot easier, hasn't it? Because you no longer have to whack your card down in order to sample the wares.
Yep, exactly. You no longer have to do that. You can just jump straight in and play it, so you can. So that is really, really good. You don't have to sign up for your pro membership, so you can actually delay it until there's games on the service you want to actually download and play. So that is something to keep an eye on.
That's a big old step in the right direction. I was really excited to see that that's the case. So any road up, our review title for this week is, as we've already said, Orcs Must Die 3. Now, you've played a heck of a lot of this, and I know you love it. You've just said that. I have got to be honest, I've only played pretty much about as far as we're seeing in the video here, which wasn't very far into the game. No reason. I thought what I played was excellent. I just, you know what? An embarrassment of riches, so much to play on this platform. It's just kind of taken a bit of a back seat. But let's run through. So we cover five aspects for each game as part of this casual gamers review. The first is how quickly can we get into the game, i.e. is it a fast loader? Second is, can we pick up from where we left off? Because that's really important. You know, you're living an incredibly busy life. You've got that half an hour time slot with the kids. The kids have just gone to bed. Your partner's going to be coming down any second, and we're going to want to catch up on the day's events. You've got 30 minutes. How quick can I get back to where I was before and move on? How easy is it to play? Do I have to spend a massive amount of time trying to understand the game? Is it rewarding? Will I get a sense of reward from playing this? Is it value for money? And then, of course, the final thing, which is what you and I think in terms of our scores. So let's start with how quickly does it load? How quickly can we get into this game, Dunk?
It's pretty quick. It's what I would just call the standard sort of time getting into the game. It's not particularly fast. It's not slow. You've got your SSDs. You jump straight in. There's a couple of different menus you have to go into to actually choose what level you want to do, or what do you want, what section do you want to do. Do you want to do co-op and things like that? So for me, it's the bog standard for the Outfit 5 for that. There's a bit of horsing about you have to do to get into where you want to actually play. But it's pretty quick getting into the game.
Yeah, so you gave it 3. I gave it 3 as well. I had the same thing. It was interesting because playing it again last night, I'd forgotten there's almost there's a kind of delay loading the game up, and you don't really understand why. It's just lots of waiting with nothing going on the screen. Once you get to the game, you're in pretty quick, but it's the bit between firing it up and getting to it that just could be a little bit faster. So I think we've both given that one a 3. Can we pick up from where we left off?
Sort of. It's one of these games where it saves what level you're on, but it doesn't actually save part of your level, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Each level takes about 10-15 minutes. Sometimes it's quicker, sometimes it's slower, and you can't just sit and when you actually get into the game, it doesn't, if you're halfway through a level, it doesn't actually save halfway through the level. It quits out and you would have to restart it again, because these levels are actually meant to be replayed, so you can play them different ways if you unlock new traps and things like that. I think it might be worth touching on this. This is a tower defense game. You're stopping the orcs and whatever other creatures are coming out from the doors to stop getting them to your base. So as you go further into the game, you unlock new different traps and things like that. So no, you can't actually pick. It saves what level you're on, but it doesn't actually save the part of the level you're on.
And also, of course, the caveat that we raise every time we review a game is that this does have the co-op option as well, so you can play with friends. Because of that, you can't start the same place, because they won't be able to start the same place without having started at the same place as you. So yeah, it's necessarily not going to start you at literally the same point, but you will start from the same point in the game as far as what your progression is and what levels you've managed to tick off and the rewards that you picked up. So always a difficult one, that one, Dunk, because I always feel like it's not the game's fault, it's the way that the world is in this kind of a game. I mean, you can't be any different. Nonetheless, you can't pick up from where you exactly left off. So until we change that rule, we've both given that a 3. That's 3 apiece. We're pretty much on par so far. Next up, how easy is it to play?
Okay. What I like about games is which give difficulty options. You've got easy, normal, and hard, or all this. And this game has its easy option, which is really good because that actually makes it a lot easier to play. And what you may find is, even if you think you're really good at the game, you might actually need to drop it down to easy just to unlock the next level so you can get more different equipment. However, the traps and all requires a lot of thinking, and then you have to upgrade them and things like that. There's actually it's not a sit down and going around to shoot people and that's it. There's actually a lot of thinking, and it's actually planning's involved, and you actually have to go and investigate the different traps and things like that. So it's not this is really, really difficult, but it's not, you can just jump in and play it. If you give it to your 5-6-year-old, they wouldn't be able to just jump in and play it. There's actually a bit more thought and things need to do, and you actually have to plan things out. So I'm also giving that a 3 out from 5 for that as well.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it is a game that does, you can just jump in and shoot stuff, but you probably won't get very far. You do need to plan the route. As you've said, it's a tower defense game, so you've got a base that you are protecting, and there's an onslaught of enemies, and if you just try and shoot them, you're going to be scuppered pretty quick because there's enough of them to make that particularly difficult. So they give you a bunch of tools and tricks and weapons and things that you can use, and you can upgrade them, and you can get more drop as you progress, and you can use those to try and take out as much of the onslaught as you possibly can, so they're not just sort of one-on-one, it's you taking out a dozen or more each time, which requires some thought. Now, it's not beyond the wit of man. It is, once you've played it a bit and given it some thought, then it's not an overly complicated game. But certainly, if you've only got 10 minutes before the partner comes downstairs again, you may not get the time to devote to the game that it really deserves. Because when you do, it's incredibly good fun. But that would be me. I'm on the same level as you, so I think we're both there. That's a 3 for us. We're both literally neck and neck so far on this one, aren't we? Right. So that was how easy it is to play. The next one, number 4, is it rewarding to play?
Yes, it is. I'm. It is really rewarding because you're looking to level up the characters. Always the next battle to do. They've got introduced weekly challenges as well. There's so much actually to do in the game. It's actually you forget about most of it. What I really liked about it is upgrading your different equipment. You get the different traps actually adds in more variety, and it actually gets you to think to maybe play it in a different way. And when you think things are nice and easy, you're just going to lay down the same traps. For me, it was always the fire traps. They actually throw in a curveball where some of the orcs are immune to some of the traps, so you actually have to change things up. So because you have to change things out, it gets you thinking. So that's rewarding because you have to vary up your gameplay and stuff. So yeah, I think it is really rewarding. There's just so much things to unlock, and there's lots of things to come back to.
Yeah, you do get a huge sense of achievement as well, I think, from getting rid of those hordes and seeing a carefully planned trap come to fruition. It gives it something you don't always get from other games. You might have there might be a little tactic or a cheese, as we used to call it in the old days, which always gives you a little chortle when you get it right. But that's what this game's all about. It's all about finding those little cheeses, those little uses of traps, maybe doing something even that the developers didn't intend, and it does give you a kick. So yeah, I agree with you. I think it's actually quite a rewarding game from that point of view, and that would also be why the pair of us have given it again a 4, so we're again on par on that one. And then finally, is it value for money?
I actually believe it is. It hasn't came out as a full price game. It's came out as which kind of is like a B title. It's came out at $30. So that's about £25. So you're not paying full whack for it. There is a lot of content in the game. They're constantly updating it. For me, it's nearly a semi-early access sort of title because they're actually adding a lot of stuff into the game and they're expanding it as we go. But it's not an early access. There's a full game there. But for £25, I have absolutely no problems at all recommending it at that price. Because it is a Stadia exclusive or semi-exclusive game, and it does actually showcase Stadia, especially when you get into the big. I'm not sure if you actually got into these, Rokk, the big boss battles, where the big massive maps, brilliant fun. I find them actually really, really easy. I know a lot of people. Excuse me for a second. I know a lot of people find them difficult, but I actually found them the easiest part of the whole game was the big massive boss battles because you just made everything so random. But I know some people were struggling, but I absolutely loved them, and I wish there was more of them in the game.
And it was a free pro game.
Yeah, so for you, that's an easy score for you.
It is indeed, and you still can claim it as a pro game. It hasn't been dropped off the board.
It hasn't as yet.
No, exactly. So yeah, it was an easy one for me. I mean, how can anybody say free isn't good value?
I'm going to make it. Here we go. Here's one of my amazing predictions here, which normally turn out wrong. I don't see it leaving pro.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think any game that has the Stadia moniker, that has their thumbprint on, whether it's because it's an exclusive or they've been involved in its investment, I think will always be a pro game. I think they will be part of the permanent library of Stadia games. Duncan, thank you. So you have given it a 4, which is probably one of the highest you've given a game for value, and I agree with you. I think as a free subscriber, it's an incredible value, this game. I've of course given it a 5 because it was free. I mean, what the heck. But that does mean we deviated ever so slightly right at the end there, and our overall score for this week was I gave it 18 and you gave it 17. Now sadly, our normal kind of you must have this one is around 20, and that sort of makes it feel like it isn't one that you want to pick up, but I think we both agree it's a definite one for your library.
Yeah, I think some of the way we look into things, we look at from a slightly different lens. If we're both take out the scores, we're able to say, yep, it's a game you must play on Stadia. Absolutely, no question. It's because we're looking at it from it's a pick up and go game, but there's actually the first couple of questions we get asked are how quickly can you pick up, and how easy it is to play. We gave them middle of the road scores there. If we gave them an extra one in each of them, it would be a surefire hit there. I wouldn't be. This is why scoring sometimes is a bit misleading, because you do miss out on some of these. There's some brilliant games out there which have actually scored less, but they're actually a lot more fun. And you've got some games which score really high, but they're actually not that much fun.
So totally, absolutely right. My final piece would be, if you take the letter of the law as far as Rokk reviews are concerned, it's not going to be a game that you will be able to just dip in and dip out of without some investment. But if you have some time, this is a fantastic, fun game, and you will enjoy it, and you will go back to it. And more importantly, you can play it with friends. So, when your partner comes down and they've put the kids to bed and they want some time together, why not pull up with an extra controller? Make this your evening's entertainment, because honestly, you'll have some great laughs doing it. Right, Duncan, thank you very much. I think that was a great... Sorry.
Just one wee tiny thing. If you spend 3/4 of an hour to an hour with Orcs Must Die, it would be up in the 20, 21, 22 sort of range. You just need a wee bit of time to get used to the game.
Exactly right. So thank you very much indeed. There was our Rokk review, ladies and gentlemen. And finally, let's go across